Gather round for the Okefenokee Farm Pondcast with Doug Davis.
All right, Mr. Jeff. So you know a little bit about what we do here. It is super off the cuff, and I'm so appreciative that you would be willing to sit in this chair next to me and have no idea what we're going to talk about and just respond. So thanks for being here today. Jeff Zadow. Jeff is one of our oldest, not necessarily age, but duration, one of our early founders. He and his wife Brett, and so
sort
Jeff,
of like a probe.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So early on, so you guys have been owners here at the farm and friends and residents for well over probably a year now, I guess. When did we complete your cabin? I know there are some delays, so don't talk about those.
Yeah.
But
right about a year.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. About a year.
About a year of completion.
And so, look, the reason why we get together and do this is more than anything to kind of document and capture what's going on at the farm at any given time, and especially for folks who can't visit or who can't be here. I get the question a lot, like, what's it like to be at the farm, or what do you guys do? What would it be like to be an owner? And so the spirit of what we're kind of doing here is slowly but surely chipping away at what it means to be at the farm at Okefenokee. And so I can think of no better way than to ask someone who's actually not me. And then Curtis is here a lot, so everyone has got an opportunity to hear his perspective. And then we had Jenny, and so now you. First of all, maybe share a little bit about who you are and what brought you to the farm, and we'll go from there.
Wow. A couple big questions.
Yeah.
Let's see. Wow. The day and a life at the farm, a life in the day at the farm.
Well, first of all, when I think about you, let me be more specific. When I think about Jeff Zadow, one of the things that comes to mind is somewhat of a Renaissance man. Number one, people, at the risk of embarrassing you, I won't ask you your age, but you are my senior by about a decade, which blows my mind. Your physical capabilities, your intellect, and your artistic pursuits make you truly a Renaissance man in my mind. And so maybe before we get into a day in the life, just share real quick where you're coming from, a little bit of your background, and maybe some of your hobbies, and then we'll launch into that. Is that good?
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of at a stage of reformation in life.
Okay.
And didn't really like the word retirement, so I started looking at all these other re words. Redirected, refocused, reaffirmed. Those sorts of words, and. Yeah, I never saw the farm coming in 100 years. It was awesome. Thanks to a full-page ad in the Times Union in Jacksonville.
That's right.
That Kimmy found and Brett got on board with. Brett, my wife, yep. Well, I grew up in Southern California, always connected to the outside environment. There were mountains all around in Southern California. I know people don't think of mountains there, but there's 3 big mountain ranges within an hour from anywhere that you are, and was always attracted to those and did whatever I could to get in them, and that just led for a love of the outdoor environment, and through a career in the ski industry in Utah and Montana, and life in Montana and Utah and Colorado, and meeting my wife in Colorado, who's from Florida, and starting to spend some time in Florida at the ocean. Just beautiful environments everywhere. And then I wasn't so quick to get on board with the farm. For me, it was like, oh my gosh, another project. We had a couple projects going on, and it's like, where does the time come from when you choose something new in your life that requires time to really get involved with? And but upon a couple of visits out here, and in particular visiting the swamp and getting on the water out there, oh my gosh, became a believer instantly. And then that allowed me to really open up to what you have going on at the farm here, the leadership and the vision, and just to get on board with it and be part of it, and have not have a say, but have input that's listened to and cared about and implemented and melded and utilized.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. When I think about, you're talking about the swamp, some of my earliest memories of talking with you and Brett, and then follow-up meetings with you guys always involved kind of an activity. So one of my favorites is when you called me or Brett somebody called me and said, "Hey, Doug, this was at least a year and a half ago now." And you're like, "Hey, Doug, can we come get a Charlie Brown Christmas tree?" And so you guys came out and we went out in the forest and found a little Christmas tree for y'all. And so just the fact of how grounded you guys are, how humble y'all are, you continue to be. It's evident through the way that you're answering my questions. You're sandbagging big time. That was one of the things I remember most about you guys. And then another time you showed up at my cabin unannounced. And if I remember correctly, did you have a paddleboard on your truck?
Yeah, man.
And I think you were going to go paddle the swamp, right?
Well, no, not necessarily. I was on a journey from the beach out to here.
Okay.
Where can I go in between? But
okay.
Sort of I'm not sure the paddleboard was going to be a fit.
Well,
for
I
the swamp.
was going to ask you because most people always ask about the alligators, and so I was going to ask you if that was something you even considered. So it wasn't the paddleboard in the swamp, but I know that you spend a lot of time in your kayak in the swamp.
Yeah.
And then so before we talk about that more, I want to just selfishly, you mentioned the mountains. So you grew up skiing, snowboarding at all, or just skier? Or are you just a skier?
Nope, both.
Okay.
Both.
All right. I'm a snowboarder.
Yeah.
So I only skied once and started snowboarding back in I guess it would have been the mid 80s, back when it was very frowned upon.
Bungee straps for bindings.
Yeah. So snowboarder, you guys live at the beach, so you love to surf, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, I like to get in the water, surf, paddleboard, canoe, kayak, whatever.
Yeah. So love to be in the woods, the mountains, the water. So I mean, connected to the outdoors, which is, I think that's one of the reasons why I feel such a kindred relationship with you, is because I'm so much the same way. But one of the things that you do that I don't do, even though I love art and to create art, I do it in a different way than you do. And so talk to me a little bit about some of what inspires you to come up here, to go out into the swamp and spend time in the forest. What creative pursuit drives you from that perspective?
Well, I think you're getting at my photography passion.
That's right.
Yeah. That's the drive is to just be out there. The photography is kind of the tool to get there. Because the drive was there well before I had a camera in my hand.
So that's kind of a reason to even do it more.
Yeah. And it's enhanced the way the natural environment is experienced. Wildlife photography or nature photography, landscapes and whatever. And so it's just enhanced that experience. It's by slowing down. So
talk to me. I've never done it before, and we've never had this conversation before. So walk me through. I mean, what is it like when you launch your kayak in the Okefenokee, and you're like, what are you thinking about as you pursue this trip? Whether maybe it's an hour, 3 hours, I don't know. Just walk me through like both what you're thinking mentally, maybe some of the emotions that you're feeling as you're moving around, and then are there any objectives that you're trying to create, or is it just more free flow?
It depends on the day. Sometimes there's a specific target or experience or an animal I'm looking for. Other times it's a specific time of day, obviously the early part of the day or the later part of the day where the light's low, and or a cloudy day, or the sunrise coming through the trees. And other times it's just being open to what the environment's presenting at that time. And what I first get into when I'm there, and I try to be diligent about this, is just taking some moments to be in gratitude, to be quiet, and just realize what a gift it is to just be here.
Yeah.
And how special this environment is out here. And then launch off thinking about safety, because I'm often by myself going, okay, you're by yourself. Is there anybody else around? And sometimes there's a lot of people out there and sometimes there's nobody. And yeah, thinking about being safe and keeping gear dry and listening and looking a lot, seeing what's out there.
So would you say that you may or may not get a great shot in the situation where maybe you never even pull your camera out? How does that make you feel? Do you still feel satisfied that you've been out? Like, walk me through the emotions around not capturing a new shot.
100% satisfied.
Okay.
Not capturing a shot.
Okay.
Sometimes it's almost better
Wow.
because you're not fussing with your gear or
Yeah.
laser focused in on the bird or the alligator or the whatever the thing is, and you're more open to everything around you.
Yeah.
They both have sort of their pros and cons, if you
Yeah.
will. It's really nice to slow down and focus in on something, and the overall feeling is just gratitude for
Yeah.
one way or the other. But man, when you nail the shot, something really specific, and you got the bird in flight or the gator chomping on another gator or some crazy thing, and the reflections in the water on the swamp out there are just beyond words.
Wow.
The tannins in the water, that dark colored water, and the lily pads and the flowers out there. It's just top shelf.
So for
no wonder this place is about to become a World Heritage Site.
Yeah. 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 So for someone, imagine in your mind's eye for a minute, just visualize someone, whether they're in Jacksonville or Tallahassee or Atlanta, and they're called up, like they're going at it, man. They wake up in the morning, go, crash at night. Walk them through what does it feel like you were describing a few minutes ago. You actually said, I loved what you said about sometimes it's better to not get the shot because I'm more present. Walk me through, like, is that something that you had to learn? Is it something that comes natural here? For someone who doesn't understand that, talk a little bit more about that.
Well, I'd like to say it just came naturally. It was part of the DNA, but I think it had to be worked at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it definitely had to be worked at, to not be attached to having to get something specific, and just being okay with what is, and taking in just the beauty of this place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was sharing with Curtis, it may or may not have been on one of these podcasts, but one of the things that I do in the morning here is I go out on my front porch. I'm facing east that way, and I love to watch the sunrise. And so I go out there and I spend a few minutes like you in gratitude, just thinking about, how overwhelmed I am with so many blessings in my life. And I spend time in prayer, read my Bible, and then I'll actually just watch the horizon. And sometimes I've got thoughts popping in my mind, and, I'm like, I gotta go. I got, Jeff Zadow is going to be coming here and I got to meet with him, I'm teasing. But sometimes, like, I do better than others. Sometimes I find myself in, the kids would call it flow state, I guess, or in, or maybe some people who haven't heard that word, a trance or whatever else. But sometimes I find myself in this moment where I get locked in, and I completely lose the ability to think almost about what's going on other than just being in that moment, watching the sun or the birds or the whatever else. Is that, how would you describe that? Because it sounds like we're experiencing kind of that same thing.
Yeah, I would describe it just like that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And, in this day and age, it's, that's a learned behavior. It's a practiced behavior. It's like, it's like exercising.
Yeah.
That quiet time and that reflection and that gratitude. Yeah. and what a place to do it out here, and then the overlap that can have in our lives when we're in the busyness of preparing for a podcast and the business and all these other things. To be able to reflect on that. And as I was driving out here today, which is it's about hour and a half, 90 minutes door to door, and I've really grown to like listening to a podcast or a book on tape, something that's non-work related,
right?
Non sort of life related in that sense, but it's something to feed myself, if you will.
Yeah,
that spills out on everybody else.
Sure.
Ultimately. And how that's just become such a gift.
Yeah.
To get inspired on the way out here, and then let that go and have that inspiration swirling around after being here, whether it's for 2 hours or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
That's awesome. Well, those moments that we're talking about, I wish they could be more scripted, but it feels like there are things that you bump into often. And I think the canvas of the farm sets it up for that to be more opportunistic and the cadence of that to occur more. But it's certainly, when it happens, it's a tremendous treat. It's almost like time stands still. You lose track of it. But I want to make sure we hit a couple more things before our time's over with. Walk me through. I know that you and Brett come up here. Y'all always attend our dinners, and you guys are so good about supporting all the stuff that we're doing up here. As you think back over the last year, what are some of the highlights for you? And if you want to speak on behalf of Brett, you can, or they were shared highlights for y'all together, or just Jeff Zadow's.
Wow, well, some of the highlights that stick out are the sunrise, watching the sun come up through the windmill out there with the horses in the pasture. Sitting down next to people at these dinners that hearing people's story, how they got here. They heard it on the radio, they saw a podcast, they saw it in the newspaper, and just meeting the variety of people that come out here has definitely been a highlight. Spending time with the staff, getting to know the staff a little bit, beyond you and Jeff. I mean, it's been great to know you guys, but I've spent time with you, and I make an effort to try to meet somebody or spend a little bit more time with somebody I haven't.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We had I think it was either the last podcast or the one before, we ended up talking about how special the team is here at the farm, and we have an incredible group of people that come around everyone and support them, whether it's the animals, the growing, no matter what it is. It definitely is. It's what bolsters this place and makes it feel like what it is. So I guess, okay, guys.
Yeah, another highlight was the UNESCO dinner night.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, the various people from different parts of the country, different parts of the world that were here and speaking about these lands and the process of the World Heritage Site pursuit. That was definitely a highlight.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we've mentioned it on this podcast before, but to your point, that's the second time you've kind of mentioned that. For people that may not know about it, I don't know how long the refuge has been soliciting it, but probably the better part of a decade. Being studied and becoming part of a long list and then a short list, and then having to go through all of the reports and studies and everything. But as I understand it, we're right at the finish line of becoming a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which is for us at the farm, it doesn't mean a lot because we already enjoy the Okefenokee in its fullness. But the thing that it does do is it helps other people really around the world understand the environmental jewel that we have right here in our backyard. In fact, I share with a lot of people that come, and maybe you've experienced this. I mean, because of our location being on the banks of the Okefenokee, I mean, we get the benefit of not only the dark skies, but I like to describe it, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I think it is. I think about the way that air is created through the carbon, monoxide, dioxide process, and as the trees and the water scrubs everything and then sends it back out. I mean, I think about that as kind of being the lungs of our planet, and some of the most pristine lungs, if you will, are right out here, 500,000 acres of nothing but undisturbed mosaic of wetlands and uplands. And so, when you think about quality of air, I was talking about Atlanta earlier or Jacksonville. I mean, we're living right next to some of the most incredible lungs in the world. And so, having that protected and celebrating that, I think, is only going to benefit the farm over time as well. Yeah. And so, I guess is maybe in working towards closing, Jeff. This could be a tough question, admittedly, but as you think about the future here at the farm, what are some of your goals? And I know you're already loving it and you're already engaged, but is there anything that you're looking forward to in the future, whether it's future things that the farm would offer, or if it's just future pursuits that Jeff and Brett are looking forward to as they engage deeper?
Definitely looking forward to spending more and more time out here and seeing where I might be able to give to the community, support the community, i.e. some photographs here and there.
Yeah.
Join Curtis in the sign shop.
Yeah.
Something like that. Who knows? And
maybe some photography classes.
And possibly. Yeah. Just kind of excited to see how the community grows. And
yeah.
So
we have coming up, I know we talked about this earlier. I asked you if you're going to be able to come, but we have our very first community. We've had lots of dinners here at the farm, obviously, and lots of events, but this one is what we're calling a community potluck. This one is really more of an organic get together with all of the owners. And I think I counted it up, and we've got, I believe, either 6 or 7 families that are participating in this. Oh, nice. And so this is going to be an incredible opportunity. Obviously, fortunately, we're not going to get to have you. But as I think about, the farm moving forward, to me, it's those impromptu opportunities where neighbors are inspired to get together, whether it's maybe to go out to the swamp or to get together for dinner, or maybe you will teach a class. I know that we have some other classes already kind of programmed into the calendar. But we've talked a lot about kind of the nutritional side of the farm, and one of the things that makes me so excited, and you've illustrated that today coming on, is really the community side of it. The just sharing a life together, sharing experiences together, learning from one another, and being excited about moving forward. So I appreciate you and Brett. Appreciate your willingness to be on, and so. I'll give you an opportunity to share any last thing, and then I've got a way that we end I'm going to share with you. So, any other thoughts before we wrap it up?
Well, the one other thing I'm looking forward to is the relationships, the unknown relationships that are going to happen.
Yeah.
That just
people.
The surprises. What's going to happen, and then, it's just been a great journey out here with what you and Jeff have created, and Curtis's involvement and what's happening, and just to see the growth. It's just been fabulous, and it's a beautiful place to spend time.
Awesome. So we like to end this with a one-word close, and so you have to pick a word that captures kind of the spirit of the way that you're feeling. It can be either this very second, or it could be a summation of our conversation today. And we'll say that word, and then we'll say I'm out. So just to help you, I'll go first. So I'm thinking I'm going to cheat. I'm going to actually use 2 words, and I'm going to say sacred moment, and I'm out.
Spacious, and I'm out.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.